Good morning, Velma Hagar. Hidden Treasures in Secret Places, Amazon.com. Here's looking at you, kid. My Italian roast. Love it. This morning I posted something on Facebook that I really, really liked. Well, I had done it wasn't this morning, it was a couple days ago, and I never had so many people hit on one thing. Oh my gosh. I actually got like so many likes, like twice as many as I've ever gotten before. I had something like 15 shares and tons of conversation. And this is what it was about. So I decided we needed to talk about. It's about people that walk away from your life. I made the comment that when people go out of your life, don't beg them to stay. Sometimes their time is just up with you. Sometimes it's time to move on. And, and I can couple that with something else that I said, that, if someone has done you wrong and it has actually changed the course of your life because of their choice or their decision, it affected you and you're mad about it. Did you ever stop to think that maybe, just maybe, God used them to move you on? I honestly believe that if you are a Christian and you are truly trusting God, and that happens, someone does something that changes the course of your life, you know what? God is sovereign. And you're in the palm of his hand if you've made him the Lord of your life. If you haven't, you might be in trouble. I don't know. But all I know is if you have called out the name of Jesus and you believe in your heart and you've confessed with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, all things are working together for good for you, and therefore, whatever happened. I love the saying that Confucius said. He said, if you dig a grave out of revenge, dig two, because you're going to need one too. Because as a man sows, so shall he reap. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. You dig a pit of revenge, revenge is going to come back on you. Stop it. Count everything as God doing it. I love the book. It's in Genesis where Joseph, the guy with the coat of many colors. I'm just going to tell you briefly. I don't usually go in Bible stories, but this Bible story really, really blessed me. His father, Benjamin, had loved his youngest son. His father wasn't Benjamin. Benjamin is Joseph is the coat of many colors. I'm not even going to get into the names, okay? There was a guy that has a coat of many colors. And his dad favored him over all the brothers, and he made him this coat. And the brothers were so mad because they were so jealous. They took him out in the desert and dug a pit and put him in it and left him there to die. He couldn't get out. And some travelers came along on some camels and rescued him. And the story goes on that they took him into Egypt, where he became the right-hand man of the king and ended up saving the Jews because he figured out ways to keep them fed and to store the corn and so forth. And one day his brothers and his dad came to Egypt because they were starving to death where they were. And they were so afraid that Joseph was going to, have them killed because of what they did to him. And he said to them, don't be afraid. I'm just going to paraphrase it. He said, don't be afraid, because what you did to me was God trying to get me into a different place. Imagine, this is a man whose brothers had dumped him into a pit to die, and he's so willing to not only forgive him because he knew. This is a man who knew God. He knew that nobody could put him in a pit unless God allowed it, because our God is sovereign over everything. Now, does God allow whales to swallow you sometimes in order to get your attention? Yes. I hate to say it, but he does. He does. Remember the guy that got swallowed by the whale? And people want to say, oh, that wasn't really a true story. Yeah. Well, whatever it was, The whale was symbolic for the things in life that just devour you, that eat you alive, that are so huge you can't handle them. So whatever it was, I believe the word just the way it stands. But if you don't, believe what you want, but do believe this. God does allow those things because he has a place he needs you to get to. Now, if we could just hear God and listen closely, we wouldn't have to be jerked around like that. But most of the time, we try to do things our own way, and we don't really consult with God first and be sure it's what he wants from us. So I said all that to say, you know, people, you know, sometimes it's time for them to go. They were in your life to create havoc for some reason. They were there to get you to move, to change, to grow, to, expand. And even sometimes, I hate to say this, sometimes it's family. You know, family, that's a hard one when your family does it. But you know what? Don't beg anybody to love you. The world is so full of people. And look, if people don't celebrate you and they just tolerate you, move on. Move on. There are many that don't really wish you well. And, you know, it's not that they're bad. They're operating out of the flesh. It's carnal. It's a very carnal, humanly thing to do, to not want to see others succeed. But don't deal with it in your life. And if they walk away, by golly, let them go. Even if it's a mate, I hate to say it, sometimes it's a mate that does it to you. You can't stop them. You can't change people's ideas. You can't do it for them. You can't, decide what they should do and what they shouldn't do. They're going to do what they want to do. So, everybody loved that one. They just loved it. God says, forget the things that are behind and look to the things that are ahead. So, whatever has happened to you in the past, I'm coupling these things together here. I'm bringing them in together. If someone has harmed you, has done something to you in the past that looked awful, don't try to get revenge. Revenge is digging a pit for yourself as well. When you try to fight anything with the arm of the flesh, you may lose. But if you have God doing it for you, you'll never lose. Give it to God. He knows what happened. And then let it go. Forgive him, just like Joseph did. Forgive him. Everybody has to deal with what they do. Everybody. They don't get by with anything. They only think they do. And remember this, all things done in the dark will come to light. You may think people are getting by with something. No, they're not. Because in God's world, he knows all and sees all. Trust him. If you put your trust in God, you will always come out ahead. You let those people go in your life that are just like a millstone around your neck or are causing you all kinds of problems. They really don't like you. They tolerate you. They don't really appreciate or celebrate you. Let them go. Just let them go. Move on. There are tons of people out there that are going to love you. Okay, with that said, this is Velma Hagar. Buy my book. And see that subscribe button down there? Hit it and subscribe to my videos. I have over 200 of them out there. Okay, you guys, until next time, Velma Hagar bidding you a blessed day. Bye.